Welcome to the Masterclass Online Cash Flow Accelerator. And this month we have Rock Your Online World with the chairman and founder of Rock Your Life, Mike Hancock. Hello, Mike. How are you doing today?
I am fantastic, Dave. I'm loving the fact that I'm on this special online event with you and with the folks out there from wherever around the world.
Well, this is absolutely fantastic to have you co-hosting our event this month, because you've just had an amazing trip. And it's going to be fantastic today to get some of your insights into your trip to Florida and to be able to share some of the great learnings that you had during your trip. Tell us a little bit about what happened in Florida, Mike.
Well, Dave and everybody, we were invited to go initially on an internet marketing cruise, which happened in late January. And Lundy Jack and I flew all the way to Florida from Cambodia after we left you in Cambodia, got on the ship with 450 of the best marketers in the world. And I'm talking about people like John Penberthy, who's a 23-year-old guy from London who's making over £1 million a year on YouTube, sharing the way in which he did it. I'm talking about guys like Dave Van Hoos, who runs the business called Speaking Empire, that's behind some of the greatest speakers on the planet, like Tony Robbins, Robert Kiyosaki, and those sort of people. And I'm talking about weird people like a guy who literally, his name is John Smith, who nobody really knows or understands, wore track pants the whole time, and is probably the leading guy on the planet in search engine optimization at the moment. And so fascinating characters that we met there, and that led us to then go back to Florida just recently. We were there just literally just on a month ago, where we went to a 3-day event on marketing and copywriting with a guy called Emerson Brantley, and Emerson has written some of the best copy of any of the letters through the 80s, 90s, 2000s, and now into the current world, into the digital world. Some of the most memorable copy letters there. And also we met and went to the studio of Forbes Riley, who is the #1 person on the home shopping channel, who's sold $4 billion worth of product on the home shopping channel. So we literally met probably 100 people, and there was some really standout people amongst that, Dave, and we got some phenomenal insights.
Well, that's a terrific why you went to Florida. How about a little short snippet on what was your biggest learning? And then we'll go right into this webinar today. And we're inviting all of our guests to type in some questions or thoughts. And we'll actually have a couple of the questions and thoughts from our listeners today to also. Yet, if you had just a snap of the fingers, and what was your biggest learning there?
Keep it simple. And the big thing, my biggest learning was demographics are out, psychographics are in. So demographic, as you know it, folks, is, for instance, the demographic of the average Rock Your Life client is 35 to 55 years old, owns their own business, and 65% of them are female. That's a demographic. A psychographic is about the way in which they think. And so therefore, what is the way in which they think? So 90% of the people that are in our circle of excellence at Rock Your Life think entrepreneurship, social responsibility, and want to know the truth about the world. And that's a much stronger thing than any demographic. So demographics are out, psychographics are in. So I can share more about that later if you want.
That sounds great. I think our listeners will definitely be interested in learning about that. And in fact, it's going to be fun to integrate some of that into future programs also, where they get to know much more about themselves, and they get to be able to perhaps release some of those items that are holding them back, and to free and be liberated. So that would be really great to be able to share that in some upcoming soul journeys or upcoming events that we're going to be providing and supporting in the next couple months. The way that I wanted to share a little bit was there's this item called the Trilogy of Technology. And the Trilogy of Technology is going to be like just a couple of little questions for you, and you share perhaps from your experience in Florida or the trainings that you've been to, and the latest in what your experience. And the first one is in social media. And I'm curious, from your perspective right now, what's the inside word from some of the greatest thought leaders in social media? What is the inside word there, Mike?
Well, the inside word is Facebook. And when I say that, everybody knows Facebook, but Facebook has now taken over YouTube as the absolute #1 video channel on the planet. But there's a real key to Facebook, and you guys know it every day, because when you go on Facebook, and that is the fact that unless you click the volume up on the Facebook videos, there is no volume. So therefore, the whole scope of social media is changing to engage through video. So for instance, if you're watching your video and you've got me standing here, if you can see me on screen, and I'm a talking head like I am right here, then all you're going to see is this. That's not engaging at all. But then you do what John Penberthy does, which is film in amazing locations around his city, where he's sitting on a park bench at Piccadilly Station in London and sharing, you know, his #1 tip for YouTube that week. It's visually engaging because he's starting with pictures of the pigeons and this and that, and everybody's in there going, okay, well, who's this guy sitting amongst the pigeons? And they'll click on the volume. So that's the #1 thing that everybody's talking about, is how to do that. The second thing is video referrals. And there was a whole host of content that did on video referrals there, and the ways in which people are getting these video referrals now.
First, fantastic. So I think if you're taking notes of this webinar, it's a great thing to take down some of these thoughts, because this is right from the leading edge. So my second question on the Trilogy of Technology is, what's the latest on cloud computing? Cloud computing is definitely something that is changing the way we do business. And what would you say is the latest in cloud computing?
Well, I'm going to give you a personal share there first, Dave. And yes, Mandy, I agree. I do like the entrepreneur X factor in Dave's background there. It's exactly right. Nice branding. But the personal thing is, you and I have said for years, Dave, that the cloud, if you're going to be in the cloud, you have to make sure that your data is out of the cloud. And there's so many people I've come across saying, oh, you know, I've got 28,000 fans on Facebook and that's my database. And we've said, no, it's not, because that can disappear overnight. Well, last week for 3 days, our Circle of Excellence cloud-hosted software disappeared. And we weren't the only ones. In fact, when I went to the host site, every single person was complaining about their stuff disappearing. Nobody was giving any feedback. I even tracked down the founder of the hosting company on Twitter, sent him a note. He'd sold the company, and so he couldn't help, but he said that there was problems in the company. And I looked at that and said, well, here we are. We're going to be a victim of actually having a whole 8 years worth of intellectual property sitting in the cloud, and it's going to disappear. When it came back on, and we were lucky that it did, I actually managed to contact them and found quite a unique way to back up that data, which not too many people know, so I was able to back it up. But here's the key with cloud computing, I think, from my perspective, and then I'll tell you what came out of our talks in Florida and in the Caribbean as well. You have to secure that data. You have to get it off your laptop, get it in one of these things for sure, have it there so that you've got it in at least 2 or 3 places, because that's your business, that's your goal. The most important thing that came out of our Florida meeting is the way in which integrations between different platforms are occurring at the speed of sight now. And Dave, to be quite frank, we're using one right here because we use Webinar Jam. We moved recently from another webinar software to this, and the #1 reason that I wanted to move is because of the way that this integrates with other cloud computing softwares that we use. So it's the integration of different cloud computing softwares that is a key thing at the moment.
Fantastic. Again, this is the ideas that are coming from, again, from Florida, the webinars, the activities. Again, there definitely is. The U.S. is leading a lot of this, and I'm grateful that you were able to go from New Zealand, from Cambodia to Florida, bring it back, and now you're in South Africa, and we're sharing with our listeners and our viewers today all around the world. So it's fantastic. Let's go to the next question, and this is the cloud computing, we have social media. The next one was really about finding ways to leverage, where we got this here, okay, mobile. What's something happening in mobile that's exciting? And mobile is Apple Pay just launched in Singapore this last month. Actually, when I'm doing workshops right now for some of the young people in some of the schools in Malaysia, and them setting up a PayPal account is a real blockage for them to be online entrepreneurs, infopreneurs. And so when you're thinking of mobile as part of the Trilogy of Technology, anything come up there that really just made you stop and wonder about different things that businesses need to be doing or looking to do in expanding their business?
Absolutely, and this came out of our cruise, and some people who are really big in the mobile space. I'm sorry, I don't remember their names, but what popped for me there was that the two biggest markets in the world are China and Africa, and they have absolutely all of their access to the internet via mobile. Because if you're sitting in Mali or Nigeria or somewhere in the back of some province in China or Mongolia, you know, you're probably not going to have a laptop, but you do have a mobile. But the simple thing here is all of the flash stuff that you and I and everybody uses on a daily basis in the Western world is not available to them on mobile. So simple text technology deals, and the numbers of people doing business on WhatsApp these days around the world. We had somebody last year, Dave, I don't know if you remember from our Trend 2020 events, actually came out of South Africa, who said that he's probably done 3 of his biggest deals of his life simply on WhatsApp. So having this technology and using things like Twilio, Twilio, which is something that we use, which is software that sends texts to people. So that is an ability to send texts with reminders and all sorts of different things. And you know, we get them from everywhere, from, you know, going from a massage and you book the spa and the spa sends you a message, or going to the restaurant. Actually, we had some great experiences a couple of weeks ago going to a restaurant that kept us up to date with our booking. And that's the sort of technology from a mobile space that people are really focusing on, not the flash stuff. Websites themselves are becoming far more simple. Everybody's breaking their website down. So, you know, we've got something like 77 pages in the Rock Your Life website I looked at last time, and I looked at making it more simple for a mobile thing, and I said, okay, I'll put that one off for 6 months. But people building websites today are building far more simple websites. It hasn't got a lot of stuff on it.
Fantastic. It brings me to the question that's been definitely on the top of my radar in the last year and a half as I've explored infopreneurship and looked for ways to accelerate businesses online. And that's the next area which I'm going to ask you about, in sales funnels. And I know that this is something that invested a vast amount of time and energy on, taking somebody through the prospect phase, to the inquiry phase, to the proposal sales phase, to the new customer phases. Mr. Mike Hancock, what rocked your world with sales funnels while you were away?
Well, I think the fact of the matter is just simply how complex these sales funnels are, Dave, and how complex that they can be, but also how really important it is for you to actually to sit there and put the time and effort into actually building these sales funnels. Now, whilst you're saying this, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to show you one. In fact, if I can find it here in the next 3 to 7 minutes, actually here, I've got it here. Let me just come back and I'll see if I can screen share. And let's just see if we can do this. Where is it? Desktop must be here. So I'm screen sharing at the moment. So can you see that?
Yes, sir. Yep. Okay.
So folks, what you're looking at here is, this is a guy I met and we spent a day with called J.R. Keane, based out of St. Petersburg in Florida. He was one of the original guys behind Infusionsoft and one of the lead programmers in Infusionsoft. He runs his own company now. And this is him building a sales funnel for us at Rock Your Life for a whole host of online stuff that we are looking at doing in the next little while. So I'm going to blow it up here since you guys can actually see this to see what sort of stuff goes into it. So we're driving traffic from our database, our email addresses. We're driving traffic from Facebook ads, and we're driving traffic from 3 different levels of affiliates to 3 different landing pages, all coming into an opt-in or registration, which then goes either straight into a webinar room or through a sequence to get into a webinar room, and then has a webinar replay. And then under JR's arm here, you'll see all of the productization comes out of this. And this is what we're focused on. We're focused on 3 things, which I'm happy to share with you guys: ancient wisdom, our business diagnostic, and youism as well. So when you see this, and I'll just come back out because I think that's probably enough of boring you with my pictures. But when you see this, you'll realize that basically there's a lot goes into this and a lot of complexity. And we literally took a full day with JR just to build that one funnel. And then the amount of work that I've had to do behind that in creating the various copy for the various reminder emails and everything like that is huge. So webinars are the key. Everything you're doing here, Dave, is the key to what's relevant for people at the moment. You know, we have people coming on webinars now from 6-10 different countries at a time. And then if they happen to, they can't make the webinar or something like that, you know, often there's replays that they can come and watch. And it's a way of connecting with people, and every single business is doing it. Let me give you an example. We were working with a brilliant company out of Texas in the US, and Lundy really loved their product because they were guns for ladies' handbags, and they're little guns about the size of my finger, Bond guns. Gordon Bond is the guy, and he's selling guns through webinars. And so this is what he's doing. He's created a funnel like this where the out of the product is you go straight to their shop and choose the gun of your choice. And I looked at it and thought, this is genius. And they've built a whole online portal to sell guns all over the US. And they're doing really, really well. So this is the key. Webinars is the key in terms of online funnels.
Fantastic, Mike. And again, listeners, you can hear the enthusiasm. It's complicated, yet there's these pieces that you can start to do. And when we were in Bali, for instance, we really wanted to introduce you to the idea of sales funnels. And that's really just to create an experience where you develop a relationship with your customer, and there can be an exchange, there can be an ethical bribe. There can just be a way for you get that information, the email, and the contact, and then you start that relationship. And that's where the sophistication and perhaps the complications tend to really develop. It's definitely a lot more that meets the eye, and it definitely does take a whole lot more effort than what you would anticipate. Let's go to the next little question, Mike, because again, a big part of what we're looking to do with our listeners is to monetize their online experience. And I guess the question that comes up is, what top 3 keys to monetizing online that you experienced in Florida or since you've been back?
Yep. Well, the first key is to actually make it simple for people to opt into your list. So what is it that you have that people really want that they would share their email or their details or their phone number with? So that is number 1, okay? So for instance, Dave, you and I use Entrepreneur X Factor, the book, and maybe when we go back to you can point to it on the shelf there or show people what it looks like. Why? Because it's now a best-selling book. It represented New Zealand at the International Book Fairs as Business Book of the Year. It's a great book. It's high value. It's also something that people will actually share an email address to receive. You may not have a book, but you may have a report. And you see this happen all the time. And there it is. Yep, there's Dave pulling up Entrepreneur X Factor. I'll shut up so people can see it.
There you go. Well, we got one in the back there too.
Absolutely. So you may not have your own Entrepreneur X Factor book, but what works really well is reports and 7 things that you didn't know about plumbing. 7 top keys to marketing yourself online, these sort of things, whatever it is. And this is the way in which the bonds are drawing people in. They're having their reports, and I think their first report is, should a woman own a firearm? That's the first report. And all you do is download your 20 reasons yes or no and get industry opinions from people. They do that, and then they go into the funnel, which takes them to that webinar. So number 1 is having a great bit of intellectual property, and it could be a webinar that you literally swap for your email address. Number 2, and actually, no, I'll leave that one to number 3 because that's the big one. Number 2 top key to monetizing online is high quality testimonials. High quality testimonials. Video is best, audio is second best, and written is third best, but written with a photo is third best, written without a photo is fourth best. High quality. What do you want people to talk about to the psychometric that you are looking for? So I said before, I'll give you an example. I said before that the people in our circle of excellence, they're interested in entrepreneurship, they're interested in the way the world works, and they're interested in social responsibility. So therefore, to attract that type of person, a testimonial that said something like, Rock Your Life have more than just business advice. In fact, what I've found them to have is a deep understanding of ancient wisdom, coupled with a view of social responsibility that not only will change the world, but will empower people to become the person that they want to be in their lives. That's a great testimonial for a company like us because it speaks to exactly the psychometric that we're looking to attract. So that's number 1, a good hook to get email addresses. Number 2, a high quality video testimonial that speaks to the psychometric that you're looking for. And number 3, and this is the real key. Number 3, top key to monetizing online is a very specific and very relevant and engaging diagnostic tool. We met with a young guy, Brett, 28 years old, from Seattle in Washington. And Brett's business is he builds online diagnostic tools or online quizzes. The online quiz goes to a more profound diagnostic tool, and he links them with sales product launches. I'm going to give you an example. Men growing beards is really in these days, so therefore there's a whole new range of products coming out to make your beard all smooth and groom it and twist it this way and that way and everything like that. He sat down with Lundy and I and showed us the A to Z map of actually how he builds that product launch through a diagnostic tool, an online diagnostic tool, which basically said, what does your beard look like? And it had 4 different pictures. People click on a picture, then it asks some questions, and then from that you get sent to a place now where you buy beard products. Now you may think this is quirky, but I'm showing you how relevant this can be for each and every one of you listening to that call, to this call, because in the first week that they launched this, they did 10 million US in sales of beard products online through primarily Facebook type of ads. So that's how relevant this stuff is.
Wow, that's incredible. Let's pop to the other flip side of that question, Mike. And what do you see as the biggest hurdle for people to monetize online?
I think there's 2 hurdles to monetize online. One is the quality and relationship of your list. So therefore, you know, a lot of people on this call won't have spent a lot of time list building. And I'd urge you over the next 1 to 2 years to do that. To be in the online space, you've got to list build and you've got to be relevant to that list. That's definitely something that we at Rock Your Life have struggled with over the past few years, is to continually be relevant for our list, because our message is refining all of the time. So therefore, people who were on our list 3 years ago may not be interested in being on our list anymore. But so the idea is to constantly re-energize and constantly build that list and to build that great relationship with them. The second biggest hurdle is technology itself. And, you know, I know that, Dave, with even in this technology series that you've run, you've had some technology hurdles. And today we don't seem to have any. I mean, I've got a good connection with you. Hopefully you can hear me fine and everything like that. But it really is a hurdle. And so, for instance, especially if you're running a global business, last year we did our MBA Bali in December, and everybody experienced the technology hurdles that Bali has to offer. And it may be an idyllic island and a wonderful place to live, but technology sure isn't the best in the world there. And I haven't found it to be the best in the world in places like New Zealand or South Africa either. So technology is a huge one. And when I say technology, you've got to upskill all of the time. I was on a meeting with something that we're looking at embracing, which is Salesforce.com for all of the new salespeople that come and join our business. And one of the key things I said to the guy I was meeting with on my phone meeting with is that if we, meaning yourself, myself, and Lundy Jack, can't go onto their website and understand how to go around it, we're not buying it. And he said, I fully appreciate what you mean, so I'm doing a demo with him tomorrow morning to make sure I can understand it. Because some of the technology is really hard to use, and some of it's really simple to use. So I think they would be your biggest hurdles.
Fantastic, Mike. Really appreciate that. As we go forward, there's some activities that are going on with Rock Your Life, with Soul Journeys. We're in June in the next couple of days. What's occurring? What's unfolding for you in your schedule in the next couple of months, and perhaps highlight a couple of the Soul Journeys that are coming up?
Sure. I'm off to the UK with Lundy in the start of July to do a couple of events there, and then also over to Europe, and we've got some events there, and I'm speaking in the Netherlands at one point there over those months as well. So we're doing that, plus we don't like to be cold during winter, so we're heading north, just like the ducks do. And then, Dave, you and I and Lundy are meeting with a great group of people for Soul Journey, Italy and Greece, and we've got a couple of announcements coming out about that in the next week, because we've only got a couple of places left in that tour. And then that's on the 21st to the 30th of September. This is all about the ancient masters, Leonardo da Vinci, Michelangelo, Pythagoras, the goddess Athena, and we're going to be sharing some truly wonderful wisdom about those folk and taking you on an amazing experience everywhere from Pompeii to Santorini. So some beautiful places there. And then we're jumping across the Aegean Sea to Egypt, and we've got a 3-day business school happening in Cairo with people from all around the world coming in for that. And then a 7-day soul journey that the three of us are leading in Egypt, which is going to be some absolutely phenomenal stuff. I've got some amazing new stuff that I'm going to be sharing with people there. So I'm very, very excited about what's going to be happening in the next few months.
Fantastic. Actually, I just got
you'd like to add?
Actually, yeah, got a little question on psychometrics from one of our listeners, Joanne. Thanks very much, Joanne. Her comment is that the range of psychometrics is very wide. Are there 1, 2, or 3 steps that might help to narrow down the field of interest and the relevancy that you might be able to give as tip?
Yep. Could I ask Joanne to just type in there exactly what business she's in, and I'll just maybe use that as an example. I can see the chat room, so if you're there, Joanne, can you just pop in what type of business you're in? Actually, or else I'll do it generally.
She's actually, one of her businesses is in internet marketing.
Okay. So therefore, you need to be very clear. The psychometric. Let's look at weight loss. Okay. The psychometric is, you know, I'd like to lose some weight. Probably you'd like to lose some weight, Dave. Maybe some of our listeners want to lose some weight. Okay, that's what we want to do. But what's the psychometric? Why do we want to lose weight? Your reason might be entirely different than mine. Mine might want to be that I just fit into some of the more clothes that I've got in my closet, and I don't want to be called fatty as I walk down the street. And yours might be that you've actually want to improve your health. So it's understanding the nuance of what that individual wants, because therefore, if you're talking weight loss, then you're going to be saying, okay, if I'm talking about just fitting into your pants, that's not actually going to talk to the people who are looking for improving their health. So what is it that they're truly looking to do? So that would be a very key to psychometric, the whole psychometric thing. The second step that could be useful there is surveying your top 20 customers that have bought off you. Who are the top 20? The people that have spent the most with you. And we've done that over the years. We've done it 2 or 3 times. We've said to our top 20 people who have spent the most with us, what do you like about us? What makes you keep coming back? What keeps you spending? And therefore, we get an idea of where they're coming from. So that'd be 2. I think those 2 probably cover it.
Fantastic. One of the things that I also wanted to share this with our group today is the opportunity to be involved in a little campaign with us. It would be based on Bali in December, the Master Business Accelerator. It's a little invitation for our listeners today to be part of a campaign that will last just for the next 8, 9, actually 10 days. I understand we got a couple of people that have already raised their hands that they'd definitely like to be part of it. And it's an opportunity to a 10-day challenge, a 10-day campaign of letting people know about Bali, especially friends who've been to Bali, and to be part of an affiliate program that we put together. So I understand there's a number of Mandy and I believe Rebecca have voiced some interest in being part of that. And I'll be getting out to them to let them know, provide them a little, the affiliate letter, the links, and to be able to explore that. What would you like to say about perhaps last year compared to this year for Bali, Mike? What might be different? What excites you about investing some time in Bali for 2016?
Dave, firstly, you've given me a great idea. I think we need to look at doing a campaign for the few remaining spots in Bali. I think there's about 10 or 12 spots left from memory, from a webinar basis, and that allow people to really get the insights into Bali that we'd love to share. The highlights for me last year were people actually made money while they were there. So we did some exercises in online marketing, and not all of the folk, but some of the folk actually made money. And since the Bali adventure, some of those people have gone on to make a whole lot more money online. Secondly, highlights were people at Bali that came there because they were like minds coming together for a like-minded purpose. A number of them actually partnered up and did projects together. Some of them have done projects for other people that they met in Bali. The third thing was that Bali is a deeply spiritual and introspective place. So it's a phenomenal time to take some time out and actually look at who you want to become in the coming year and what you want to be doing. And so that was great. From another one from a business perspective this was the first time that some people had got to sit there in groups with other people who knew what they were doing, and in some cases, Lundy, yourself and myself, and actually build some sales funnels and actually build copy and write copy and do those things. So they were some of the things that really came out of Bali for me last year. And it was such a great group, and I can't wait to go back this year. It's just a phenomenal time.
Fantastic. And I guess that's pretty close to bringing this webinar to a close, Mr. Mike. It's been great to connect online, and it's one of the first times no technology glitches from my perspective. So I'm really, really excited about that. Any last words on online cash flow acceleration, the invitations that you might have from Rock Your Life, or just an invitation for people to explore this new way of doing business globally, something that can definitely accelerate their business if they are curious, if they're explorative, and they're willing to fail fast, fail frequently, and fail forward. What would be the last word from you today, Mike?
Again, I'll give you 2, Dave. One on online marketing, and second from a Rock Your Life point of view. Online marketing, I think the thing is you just got to try, okay? And what I would suggest everybody can do is setting up a webinar such as this is not too difficult, okay? So I definitely suggest that you try it. And having a report that you can use to generate somebody giving you their email address is not too difficult to generate. You can drop it into Dropbox and create a link for them, and that way generate some people tapping into your site and get their email addresses. So I'd definitely say those are two things that I'd love people who are listening to this to do over the next month or two. Secondly, from Rock Your Life's point of view, I know we've got Mandy on the call, and I know that she would back this up, but I think that some of the most profound changes in the way people see the world, see their lives, and who they want to be in the world happen on our soul journeys. And definitely that's something, Mandy's been on a soul journey with us and coming on another journey with us this year. And so I would just encourage all of our listeners here to really consider this, to talk to Dave, myself, or Lundy Jack about coming on one of our soul journeys, either to Italy, Greece, or there's a couple of spaces we've got left in Egypt. It really will revolutionize the way that you think and feel about yourself, the way you see the world, and really just take you to a whole different level. So that's what I've got to say to wrap up.
All right. Well, thank you very much for your time today. Thank you for the listeners. For those of you who watch us on YouTube, connect to us, leave a comment, and like us, and we'll look forward to connect to you on other social media as it continues to explore and be a bigger part of the Rock Your Life experience. Thank you very much, and wishing you all the best from Singapore.
Bye, everyone.